The one, the only.
Awesome, we're live.
Finally.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to another episode of Unprinted Pages, where we talk to authors about their journeys and their work and all the wonderful things they wrote. I have with me my co-host, Pyle Hazard, and we get to interview Ron. Congratulations and happy book birthday on your first release.
Yay! Thank you. So glad to be here. And I have to say, this is actually my first Unprinted Pages podcast. I'm very excited about it. My first podcast, I get to be the guest. What's that?
Is it your first author interview?
Well, it's my first book, so I would have to say yes.
Okay. I'm so happy to pop your cherry.
Yes, Jenny, you get to be my first.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my God, where to start? What would you like to know? That's so hard to tell a little bit about myself when there's so much about myself that there is to tell.
Oh yeah, you have so many things that about your life. You run a dojo, or you are part of a dojo. I don't know what built you're up to, but I do like the fuzzy pink heart one. And your pink gi, those are my favorite. And you are an author with such amazing stories. And we're glad you're listening, BLG.
That's my mom. That's
Hi.
my mom.
Thank you for making him. We appreciate it.
Yep, I sent her the link. And
Yay.
I'm sure she's probably posting it all over Facebook right now, and there might be a few other people to pop up here and there too. Hi, Mom. Hi.
Okay, let's start with when did you first start writing stories?
The exact time frame, I don't think I can pinpoint. I do know that it probably started with The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly Cleary. Was one of my favorite books when I was very knee-high to a grasshopper. I had to write a book report on it for one of my classes. I think maybe when he learned to print. I had to write a book report on it. I think maybe when I was in the third grade, so 8 years old. And I wrote pretty much straightforward. This is what happens in the book, essentially. And for whatever reason, the teacher singled me out, saying, Ronnie's the only one that wrote an actual book report of what happens in the book. Everybody else just wrote whether or not they liked it. I remember that, and I think that's kind of what started me on writing. But I've written a lot of stories since then. One of the very earliest stories I can remember writing was around that same time frame, maybe fifth or sixth grade, so 10 or 11, somewhere around there. I was your typical kid. I played a lot of Atari 2600 with Pac-Man, Yar's Revenge, like that. And I had this little black and white television in my room. Yes, I'm a black and white television, if you can believe that. A little 13-inch black and white television that I had my Atari 2600 console connected to, and played all those games. And the first story that I wrote was based on that. It was called 101 Ways to Get Rid of Ghosts. It was about a boy who played Pac-Man on his Atari 2600 on a little black and white 13-inch television, who his father brings home a stray dog, as my dad tended to do during that time. My father was a canine handler in Vietnam, so we've always had dogs around the family. And he brought this. He always brought stray dogs home until we rehomed them or kept them. And so the story's about this kid, and father brings home a stray dog. And because this is a story, this dog can talk. He goes into the kid's room, and the dog says, "You've got ghosts." And because the kid's only 10 years old, he's not surprised that the dog can talk. Just takes it in stride. All this stuff is flying around this kid's room, and the dog says, "You've got ghosts." And he says, "How do you know?" The dog says, "I can see them." He says, "If you look down between my ears, you'll see them too." So the kid looks between the dog's ears, and he can see all these little Pac-Man like ghosts flying around that are playing football with his tennis shoes. So, I'm writing this story, and this is back in the days before I had a computer or a typewriter or anything. So everything was handwritten on loose leaf notebook paper, if you can believe it. And I wrote in cursive, which I don't think they even teach in school anymore. So I'm writing this story by hand on notebook paper, and I'm sitting in class writing the story, and my teacher, her name was Mrs. Aldridge or Mrs. Harmon, I don't remember. She came and she took it away from me because I wasn't paying attention to class. And I got so upset and so scared that I was not going to get that story back. I was devastated that I was so afraid I was going to lose it. Like she would dump it in the trash can, or I wouldn't get it back or anything like that. Okay, if you want a kid to pay attention in class, don't take their work, because that's the last thing they're going to be focusing on. And now they don't give a shit about your class. All they want is their work back. If she had said something and said, "Put that away, it's time to be reading," that would have been fine. Okay, I would have put it away and I would have gone back to the classwork. But she took it away. It scared me. So I did go up to her after class, and she did give it back to me. So I was able to finish the story. That, unfortunately, it has been lost to the years. God knows, because, that was probably 40 plus years ago. But I still remember the story as kind of being the spawn, or the beginning of everything. Whether or not I wrote stories before that, I can't remember, but that's the first one that I can remember writing. So somewhere between 8 and 10 years old, I think, is when I started writing. And it just kept going from there.
I know I saw in Animal that your martial arts has impacted some of your works. Are there a lot of your stories that it has played a part in?
Believe it or not really. Most of the stories I write being largely horror based. I haven't really found a call for martial arts in and of itself. With Animal, it seemed a natural thing because in Animal there are two women fighting each other. Hi, Tom. Tom said he was going to give me a shout out on a show tonight. I appreciate that.
Awesome.
There were the two women fighting each other in Animal. One was a stout postal worker, and the other one was a young, fit female who takes Krav Maga, which seems to me a perfectly normal thing for a young, fit female to do. But I would imagine that a stout postal worker walking the beat, dealing with the kind of things that postal workers have to deal with, would be capable of handling herself too. So
Well,
I felt
yeah.
like pitting the two against each other would make for a really interesting scenario.
Oh yeah. Okay, hold on one second. Hey guys, chillin' to Braille Pro channel tonight. Tom Dog has a new episode, and it will be stellar. So please go follow Braille Pro and check him out. Okay, we had to give him a shout out real quick too.
Now a word from our sponsor. Back to you in the studio, Bob.
Exactly.
I was gonna say we already did that earlier.
Yes,
Deadly Grounds coffee, people. I've had it. It's good stuff. I had the Dragular roast, and I intend on ordering more. So shout out to Deadly Grounds Coffee. Thank you for being a sponsor.
Yes, thank you. And all our coffee brings all our zombies to the yard. Where do you get your ideas, Ron?
Cracker Jack box, a vending machine. Put in a quarter and see what pops out. No, I don't. That's such a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a broad spectrum of where I would get my ideas from, because it could literally be anything, and I do mean anything. Like, for example, I saw a meme going around Facebook of taking a picture through a toilet paper tube, and it's supposed to look like you're looking up at the moon. And so that kind of gave me the idea, okay, well, what if you were to fashion a telescope out of that toilet paper tube and you could see what was happening on the moon? So it's little things like that that sort of spark ideas in my head. And whether or not I use them is a different story, but it sparks those little ideas. For example, Patty recently posted on the Discord a call for submission for the next anthology that will be coming out in the fall. I don't know if I'm supposed to give details on this yet, if it's live. I don't know if I should be giving any details about this yet.
I don't know. But I know everybody expects a anthology. So, okay. Since nobody's probably really going to be surprised, we're doing an anthology about monsters.
Ta-da.
Usual everything, but it's about monsters. We'll have that put up an actual thing set up later and for the public on the website when she's ready. But anyway,
the call for
hopefully she don't
submission.
kill us.
The call for submission had the title that she was working with. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I saw it. I just can't remember what it is.
See, that's the thing, is I don't know if I'm supposed to say it. Can I say it, Patty? I don't even know if she's here. I don't want to get in trouble for saying it if I'm not supposed to. It's not supposed to be live. But I looked at the title and I went, All of a sudden, I had this idea click in my brain for it. Now, I'm riding into work this morning, and it's dark 30 because it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, 5:30. It's 5:30 in the morning. It's dark outside. It's cold. And this idea is turning over in my head about what to do with that. So now, like, I already have an idea for that anthology. that I think I can pull off relatively quickly. It's just trying to find the time to sit down and write. And it's just like one of several ideas I have right now that I want to put down. I would absolutely love to tell you what they are, but that kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Hey, I'm looking forward to finding out later. I've enjoyed this one. I look forward to the next anthology. Yes, you'll be able to see on my page and his page and anywhere else I get to post snippets of different stories. It is such a great anthology with so many different subjects that he's written stories about.
The next anthology, not anthology, or the next collection of short stories that I do probably won't be the next book. I have a feeling it'll be the book after the next book because, as you know, because you've already read some of it, The Ooze. I want to finish that as a novel, and I'm already projecting right now that it's going to be about 50,000 words. Might be a little longer. It depends on what I come up with to flesh the story out a little bit, but it's at 15,000 words right now. And I've already got the ideas in my head of where I want to go with it. And I've already got an ending that I'm playing with in my head. We have a mascot now. She wanted to join the club.
All our cats are the mascots here.
What's up, huh? You want to help out? You want to help out with the podcast? Come here. Oh, you gotta lay down, okay? There you go. Yeah, I know. That's good.
Thank you for joining us, little furry friend.
You kind of blend into the background there, Ori. Yep.
Yes. Ori does.
She's my little cantankerous kitty that likes to walk on my keyboard when I'm trying to type.
That
So
sounds
as you
about
know,
right for a cat.
The Ooze story is tentatively titled, and I don't know whether or not it's going to be the final title yet, but it's my working title. It's called The Last Entry of Grant Gilson, and it is an apocalyptic scenario that takes place over the course of 1 or 2 nights. It depends. I haven't gotten that far yet. After thinking about the story, I realized, does that feel good? I realized I'm not even halfway through it yet. And I know, I don't want your butt in my face. I know where I'm going with it. And I know kind of how I want to end it. So I'm fairly certain that I can flesh it out to about 50,000 words. The unofficial working title that I'm going with is The Secret of the Ooze, and it has nothing to do with Ninja Turtles.
Oh, you lost me.
But it's going to be a really good story because it's gory, it's violent, it's mysterious, it's dark, it's grim. It's not a happy story. And that's just the way I like it. When I started writing the story, I said it starts out bad and only gets worse from there.
Yes, I look forward to finding out what happens.
Yeah,
so it has at least one turtle shell in it. That's grim. No,
just for you, Paul. I'll see if I can figure out a way to write in a turtle shell. I think I can make that happen.
Well, they can find a petrified turtle somewhere, anywhere. Because I don't know.
You never know. It's possible. In fact,
it's not like they're going to end up at the Chattanooga Aquarium, I think. I don't know. Anything's possible.
Now that he's mentioned it, I already kind of have an idea of where I'm going to stick it in. So I think there will be a turtle shell appearing in the story. Now that I've thought about it, I'm fairly certain I know where I can stick it in. That sounded so dirty.
All right.
And my mom's listening too. Okay.
Hey, this show's all about you. You direct it.
And on top of that, I've got two more ideas for other stories that I just haven't gotten around to writing yet. Both of which will also be short stories. One is a revenge story, and one is a torture story. So both of those will be dark
Okay.
and very evil. All right, Ori, you are knocking the microphone. All right, go on down. All right.
Yes,
Sounds
Ori is.
sounds like the cat's torturing you.
Yeah, pretty much. She walks all over me. Typical female.
That is not my goal in this relationship, my friend.
Oh boy, she owns me. So what next?
Her and the sloth. So the
Sloth.
next question is, yes, I know you brought your sloth. You probably brought 7. But
Man, yeah, they're all in the bed though. They get to sleep
Okay.
while I have to work.
do you have any stories about any of, or did you have a band? Because I know you have a bunch of instruments.
I haven't written any stories about any band or anything that I've been in. I do have stories from being in bands. That's a different story. But I did actually write a story based on a band.
Okay.
This is almost, I don't know, it almost feels kind of embarrassing because it falls in the realm of fanfic. And I hate fanfic. and not for any particular reason other than most of the fanfic that I have read sucks. It was written by people that have no idea how to write. And it's usually the author of the fan fiction is writing themselves into a scenario so that they can make how shall we say, happy time with the celebrity of their choice. And
Yeah.
it's so
I
bad.
like how you worded that.
It's so bad. But, you take inspiration from wherever you get inspiration from. And I was particularly inspired by the band Typo Negative, and particularly Peter Steele's voice, because I love Peter Steele's voice. It is. I like low tone singers anyway, bass vocals or baritone, just deep. And his voice, and I'll go ahead and say it even as a guy, is very sensual. He has the Typo Negative has a song called Haunted, which is very slow. And if you know anything about Typo Negative, it's very sensual. Haunted inspired me to write a short story based on that song.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I probably still have a copy of it on paper format, but not on my computer. Though, it probably won't see the light of day in any of my story collections. Sorry, Peter Steele.
That is okay.
But as far as stories
Now the picture
about
of him reading it.
what's that?
Now I have a picture of his ghost sitting over there flipping through your papers, reading it just for the fun of it. But as far as stories about bands,
horror stories about bands, I don't think I have any. I think The Haunted was the only one that I did as far as bands go.
okay. Which one of your characters would you like to have a coffee date with? Or a dinner or whatever, just to talk with? And it doesn't have to be published yet.
That's kind of hard to say. For one, because I'd have to go back through my catalog of every one of my stories that I've written and go, would this person be cool to have a coffee date with? Would this person be cool to have a coffee date with? I just don't know if I could actually do that. I can say that a lot of times, and I think that most writers do this, they put a little bit of themselves in one of the characters that they're writing. It doesn't necessarily have to be the main character. Sometimes it can be a side character or a character that's pivotal to the story in some way. They put a little bit of themselves, or that character is based on them in some way. So really, to have a coffee date with one of my characters would basically be having a coffee date with myself. So
That's the first time I've heard it put like that on the show.
I spend a great deal of my time alone and in my own head anyway. So I drink coffee all the time. So, I mean, I have a coffee date with myself every morning.
Well, I do too. What is your favorite flavor of coffee?
Something
But
that
mine is
somebody else
usually
makes.
with my mother-in-law. Something that somebody else makes.
Something that
Okay.
somebody else makes.
You don't have a
Can I be a
particular
basic
brand
white bitch
and
and say
flavor
that I
you
really
buy?
like pumpkin spice latte?
Yeah,
Yes, if
that's
you like.
perfectly fine.
Oh, but you know what I really like? The double chocolate frappuccinos. Those are really good.
Those are good too.
Yeah. I can totally go
Especially
for
if you
those.
add extra shots. I love those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
Shot espresso. I go for that. That's what I like.
Yeah, double shot, double chocolate frap. Yes. Okay, now I want to go to the coffee shop. Too bad I can't bring you both with me. Oh, yes, and your mom says you really like Mountain Dew.
Well, whatever would give you that idea, huh? Why would you think that? Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Unfortunately, we are
It
not
almost
sponsored by
seems like
Mountain Dew, but hell, I'll endorse them.
We have a
it
coffee
almost
shop
seems like
right
it's the
beside my
Honker's
house.
choice.
Mountain Dew and Monster, baby.
Exactly. So, next question. Where do you like to write your stories? What is the most comfortable place?
Exactly where I'm sitting right now, in front of my computer.
In your studio?
The room may change, but the setup rarely does. I do my best
Okay.
writing when I'm actually sitting at the computer. I know a lot of people, they'll carry around a little notepad with a pen that they can make notes if they need to, or some people will carry around a micro recorder and they'll make some audible dictation notes and all of that. But I do primarily, when I write, it's all stream of consciousness thought. I will, if I have an idea gelling in my head, I narrate it in my head. I actually narrate it how I plan on writing it, so that when I finally sit down to type, the words are already there, at least up to a certain point. If I don't know what all of the words are, I'll have at least certain key phrases that I want to get out. And if I hit those key phrases, then it usually kickstarts to whatever the next thought is going to be. So the words just flow. I don't know what it is. I sit down at the keyboard, open up a Word document, and once I get one sentence started, the rest just keeps coming. It's like, open up the floodgates. Okay, here it comes. The problem is that I probably type anywhere between, 75 to 88 words a minute. I don't know if I'm over 100. I doubt it. But I type extremely fast. Maybe not as fast as Raz, but I type extremely fast. Because if you ever listen to me type, you can tell. I type extremely fast. The problem is that my brain works faster than my hands can type. So the thoughts will be there and my hands can't type them down fast enough. So then I end up getting like a lot of typos and stuff. I have to go back and read through it, which kind of slows down the whole process. But yeah, I tend to type the same way I think.
So you're a pantster.
I am. I very much pantsing. In fact, that discussion came up tonight at dinner. I was out with family celebrating the release of the book, and my cousin Katie, she is just recently opened an event center here in Marysville, Ohio, called Grain. Shout out to Katie. And
Yes.
they haven't even had their grand opening yet. They've already got events planned out, like for the year. So I expect it's going to be very successful, and it's her full-time job now. So we're talking, and that question was actually asked of me, how that whole writing process comes about. I said it's different for a lot of different writers. There's two methods that you can approach it by. You can be the kind of writer where you meticulously plan out every detail of what you're going to write in a big outline, and then you give certain scenarios for each one of those sections of the outline, and then you go through and you write the book, and you already have your ending planned out by the time you get there. Or you can be like me and use the pants method, or pantsing, which is basically you sit down and start typing. You have no idea what's going to happen until you actually type it. That's the majority of my writing. Shorter stories like the date night that you read started with flash fiction. And I wrote the first page and a half, with no definitive idea of where I was going with it. But then once I sat down, I said, because I didn't get a chance to finish it. Once I sat down and started typing, it was there. Flash fiction. It's like the idea was there to flash. I knew where I was going with it. I knew what I wanted to say and how I was going to get there. And if you've gotten the book at this point, you know that there's an alternate ending to it as well. The alternate ending is what I actually wrote first. And then I had the idea for the actual ending. So I made the alternate, the first ending, the alternate ending, and kept the alternate ending as the original ending. If that makes sense. I just flip-flopped them because I liked it better that way. And with
it was really good, and I enjoyed it. You reading it to us.
Yeah, reading is a different beast altogether. My mom keeps telling me that I need to narrate audiobooks because I have a way of drawing people into the story and how things need to be phrased. And I think I could do that fairly well, mostly with my own stories, because as I'm writing it, I'm the one hearing it in my head and how I want it to sound. So it's easy to narrate one of my own books. The question is whether or not I could narrate somebody else's book and it have the same effect. I think I could do it. Do it. I just, I need Audible to contact me. Hey, Audible. Yeah, I'm here.
You can actually go volunteer for that, and they will pay you. And I agree with your mom about that.
You should do it. Go on.
Until then, I'll enjoy you reading your stories to us.
It's funny too, since my mom is here listening. I always have this internal struggle with myself, this internal dialogue, because being 51 years old, I feel like I should be able to write whatever I want and say it however I want, which means occasionally dropping the F-bomb. My mom, on the other hand, does not like the F-bomb. But I'm like, I got to find that balance and that fine line, because I know my mom's eventually going to read my stuff, or I'm going to end up reading it to her. Do I put the F-bomb in? Do I take the F-bomb out? I'm like, why the hell am I struggling with this at 51 years old?
Because
Thanks, Mom.
You love and you respect her.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I write, I do actually think about the fact that my mom's going to be reading this, and I want to write something that I know she's going to be proud of.
I can tell she is very proud of you, and
She's
I'm
here
very
now.
grateful. I get to.
That speaks volumes. It's not necessary, but sometimes it is because it's normal everyday speak and everybody uses it. Sometimes it is.
If I've learned anything from SpongeBob and Patrick, those are just mere tools to spice up a conversation.
Yep.
Sure, that's not what that episode was supposed to be about,
But I think also at this, by the same token, I feel like, she knows because I am 51 and, I'm making my own life. If I do drop an F-bomb, she sort of flows with it.
nope.
Nope.
Nope, she don't.
Oh, well, I guess not. There blows that theory. Thanks,
It's
Mom.
not her favorite, but she wants you to be held up to a higher. The word just escaped me. A higher sense of self-integrity.
Wait.
Yeah,
I got it.
standard.
There you go. A higher. I
Ron,
like that.
you were raised better than that.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I do try to keep her sensibilities in mind when I write, though. Believe it or not, I do actually think about that.
So I do have a question. I've been
appreciates
sitting here and waiting.
Okay.
It's a question that I like to see writers actually answer it and actually admit it if they've got one. Do you have a character through what you have booked now and through kind of your entire process of different ideas and different writings that you could find this character, and it doesn't have to be a main character, it could be like one of the back characters that has been in almost all your writings? Kind of like a Where's Waldo type.
Huh. That's a good question, Pyle. Damn.
Didn't expect that, huh?
No, that's actually a really thoughtful question. I don't even know how to answer that because I've never thought about that before.
Well,
it's the kind of thing where I'd have to do a deep dive on my stories to see if I could figure out if there's any potential of that. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
I haven't found one in what I've been given to read.
That's a really good question. Damn. I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for that, Pyle.
Well, that's fine. I mean, this is your first one that is being published. In the future works, I'm sure that it might stumble across.
Let's post this. Let's put that one on a back burner, and I will pose it to the readers if they read my work. And if they see any characters that seem to have a similarity, that could be the same character throughout different stories, come tell me. Let me know which character you think that is, and we can go from there.
Okay, I like that idea. I just know the ones that I have talked to and the ones that me and Friday had interviewed. They actually admit that there has been a character that pops up in the background and they don't even know it happens until they're so far along.
Well, I freely admit that there is a little bit of myself in some of the characters when I write, and people can, speculate on which character they think it might be, that the character, which character is based on me. I will say that for last entry of Grant Gilson, Grant obviously is a character that's based on me, in some regard. I don't know. That's a really good question. When I write, like I have all of these ideas for short stories. Right now I've got 3 ideas for short stories that I want to write, plus the novel that I'm working on, plus a story that I'm transcribing that I found from my old college days that I want to include in the next collection of short stories for the next book. It's a little short story. It's called When the Clock Stopped. And that's all I'm going to say about it right now. But it's not a nightmare story. It's not a scary story. It's one person's perspective.
But there's so many things you can do with that.
Yes. And I like the story because it's kind of different from everything else that I've written. And I think that it will be a good addition to the next collection of short stories for the next book. I'm about halfway through transcribing it in. I haven't had time to finish it because I've had all the, everything else going on as well. But it'll be interesting to see if people can find any kind of character that seems to transcend all of the stories, just because all of the stories are different. When I sit down and write, I'm solely focused on that story, regardless of the fact that I have all of these ideas, floating around in my head out there in the ether, waiting for me to type them down. When I type or when I write, I'm only focused on that story. What is happening in that story? What is happening with that character? How am I getting to the next point? I'm not thinking about the other ideas that I have for short stories. There's no cross-contamination, which, I suppose I could make that happen if I wanted to, so that all of the stories take place in the same universe, but I don't want to do that.
Hey, Pile, I need to take over for a minute. My stuff is going down. I'll be right back.
Oh, no. All right, Paul, hit me with another hard question then. Or maybe someone is watching and they have a question, like my mom.
That could be a possibility here.
Who I really appreciate joining and watching this. She's always been incredibly supportive of my writing.
Well, you know what? Let me go ahead and ask that question then. Out of everybody that's been around you, who is the biggest supporter in what you have done and the most inspirational towards you onto continuing your work?
Other than my mom?
Well, if it's your mom,
because obviously the answer would be
I
my
could
mom.
sing your mom as we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not saying stop messaging, but you got 10 messages in there. 11. But, no, if you could give thanks, who would it be to, or is there more than one?
Yeah, there is more than one. Other than, of course, obviously the people with Owlite and Raz and Jenny and Patty and Dell that we've been communicating. Obviously, this because you've been in the chats, and they've been incredibly supportive with the writing process as well. But outside of Owlite, this whole thing started because of Raz to begin with, and
right.
It's largely because of him that I got hooked up with Patty and Faycor to get the book published in the first place. So many thanks to him for that. And that was before he even read anything that I had.
Right. So,
Hi, sorry.
By the way, your mom's up to 12 now.
She's back. But one of my coworkers that I work in my day job, his name is Rami Unger. I've mentioned him before. Rami is also a published author. Say that 10 times fast. A published author. He was just smarter and started on it at a much earlier age. So now he's got 5 books out. Started on it. And collection of short stories. He submitted short stories for other publications as well, outside of his own publishing. So Rami, for being such a young age, and I'm not entirely certain how old he is. I think he's not even 30 yet, to be honest. He's been incredibly prolific, and it's what he wants to do. If he could turn writing into a full-time job, he would. But he's also been incredibly inspiring to me toward making all of this happen. And I've read a lot of Rami's work, most of his books, with the exception of one called Snake, which I haven't finished yet. And his most recent one is called Hannah and Other Short Stories, which I'm about most of the way through. I've read about 3 of the stories in that book. I'm still working on finishing it. But he is another author that I would say to look out for, because I think he's just getting started. I think he's got many more in him, and he'll be putting out a lot more books because he is an incredibly prolific writer. He does it every day. He's very disciplined about it. And just that discipline and how motivated he is inspires me. Like I say, I want to be that disciplined. I want to be that motivated, because he's out there doing it. He's making it happen for himself. And I totally respect that.
But you are starting to, and it's okay. Your journey started later in life. It is still
a lot of things I've done. I've started later in life. I'm an incredibly late bloomer by about 30 years.
That is fine.
That means I have to live to be 130 in order to catch up to it.
But your race is not his race. Your race is Ron's race.
Oh, I know.
And there's probably things about you that he admires or likes or wishes he could do. So
I've been told by other people that they admire me and respect me for my drive that I have, because outside of writing, I've done a lot of other things as well, including the martial arts and doing as much as I have within the martial arts also. But that's only one thing. I've done a fair amount of traveling. I've been to Mexico a couple of times. I did a study abroad to China. I was over there for a month. Lived in Japan for 6 months. And in 2009, I did a study abroad over to Ireland. I spent 3 days in London and 2 weeks in Ireland. So, I mean, I've gotten to travel a fair amount as well. And a lot of that, the whole study abroad to Ireland that I did was all writing based anyway, because it was a journalism for study abroad for journalism. So a lot of that was based on writing.
And I love with your TikToks, you explain why you should take it slow and why you should do what certain things the way they should be done, and why it is done that way. That is great for those starting out and trying to find out if they do want to take classes. Some teachers just tell you, no, you're supposed to do it this way and this is why it should be done. And that takes the aggravation out of starting.
I don't know if I've ever actually had any writing instructors like that, because they've always preached do it your own way, have your own creativity. Your writing style is not the same writing style as anybody else in this room. Write it the way you think you need to write it, and explore that. So I think that's kind of how I've always done it with writing like that. And even with the martial arts, my instructor, Sensei Larry Bullard, rest in peace. He passed away, I think, in late 2017. Ori, you are just all up ons. You see this little mess right down here?
An attention hog.
Well, you will pay attention to Oreo.
So my martial arts instructor, he was incredibly prolific in trying to pull from other styles and then using it in his own curriculum and passing it on, and always looking for something new to teach, something new to learn, for as long as I've known him. And he was incredibly successful in the martial arts and very well respected.
Mhm.
That was my role model. He was a
Awesome.
mentor to me. And I think his initiative, his drive, his business sense, his acumen, these are the kind of things that, while he's not actively teaching them to me, I'm registering it. And when I grow older and I start to process this information, and maturing a bit, I'm starting to understand it and realizing how much he actually did mean to me. So
Mhm.
it's he would say, making the world a better place, one black belt at a time.
Mhm.
And I can get behind that,
Oh yeah.
So I think that is how I see myself, my perspective. For me to live up to his legacy is for me to make myself a better person, to constantly try to improve myself.
You have lived up to his and your mom's and your dad's. I don't know much about your dad, but I'm
Well,
pretty sure you've lived up to his too. But you are a wonderful person, and I have been grateful for what you've added to my life.
I'm still trying to live up to it. I think some days are better than others. And insofar as my dad goes, my dad's an incredible person. Just if you got to know his past, that would make much more sense to you. He served 2 tours in Vietnam. Uh, he served during the Tet Offensive. He was
Mhm.
based at Tan Son Nhut during the Tet Offensive, so he was right there when that was happening in the Chinese New Year. He used to race motocross as a hobby.
Ooh.
Rode a Kawasaki motorcycle and raced motocross. That was his hobby, racing motocross. And then he actually went to school. He got a degree in business management and one in fire sciences. So 2
Mhm.
degrees, one in business management, one in fire sciences. He was a fireman for the Port St. Lucie Fire Department in Florida and worked his way up to paramedic. So, his job was running into burning buildings and saving people.
Mhm.
So Vietnam, motocross, fireman. Then when we moved away from Florida and moved to North Carolina, he opened up his own business and then ran it for 14 years and was incredibly successful.
Mhm.
Business made pretty decent money and was very prominent in that area. So everything my dad's ever done, he's been incredibly successful at. And I
That
like
is
to
awesome.
say that I am incredibly blessed to have the parents that I do, because I'm one of the very few people I know in this day and age whose parents are still married. My parents have been married for 55 years.
That is awesome.
And how often do you see that now? Well, I come from a very tight nuclear family. I get along very well with all of my family. My sister and I are very close to each other. In fact, I just saw her earlier this evening. She was there at the dinner. And, that's the kind of upbringing that I had. I like to describe my upbringing as very Brady Bunch without all the kids. It was very Leave It to Beaver, I guess. Very wholesome, very family oriented.
That is
So,
awesomeness.
so do you like playing pool?
Why do you ask that?
I have no idea. Just something popped in my head at you getting your butt kicked.
I think you're looking at something. You probably you know something about this.
I would never look at the chat room as people are posting and could kick your butt at billiard.
You see, I've got the screen full screen, so I don't see the chat until
okay.
Jenny pops it up on the screen.
Yeah, but it was the perfect segue into bringing it in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As soon as you gave a whole bunch of compliments, let's knock you down a peg here.
Yeah, my dad was a pool shark too. When I was a baby, my dad would hustle pool to get money to buy diapers.
Oh, wow.
That's a true story. So my dad taught me how to play pool. I don't remember the exact year when he taught me, or this might be the Mandela effect kicking in again. But I remember we were on vacation in Myrtle Beach. We were staying at this hotel, and they had a like pool hall and a bowling alley, like
Mhm.
on like the 14th floor or something. I really don't recall, but I think that's when my dad first started teaching me how to play pool and showing me, you know, how to work the angles and stuff like that. And I got pretty good at it. Then when I started college at Appalachian State University, we had a pool hall and a bowling alley in our student union. I got a job working there. People that worked there got to bowl and play pool for free. I spent a great deal of time playing pool. And because I got to play for free, there was no time limit. I could spend hours just setting up shots, practicing the shots, and trying to figure out best way to make them and all of that. And I got really good. And then, of course, over the years, I'm still good at pool, but my dad's always been a little bit better. It's like, no matter how good I am, he still kicks my ass. And I love
Mine would probably.
it pisses me off so bad, but man, I wouldn't change it for anything. I love
I know
playing
that
pool.
feeling.
I'm so glad I still get to play with him.
So
I'm
since
so glad you get to.
since I kind of opened up a can here, and I feel bad for opening up the can. I'm just trying to bring people into the conversation here.
That's a good can to open up, pal. Don't worry about that.
So the reason I know you, Ron, in the beginning is not because books, not because of karate,
Because of
and in fact, it's I learned so much about you after I already knew you.
I know where this is going, but go ahead.
And I will say, you're a great actor. And if you don't know Ron, Ron is a haunt actor, and he's such a great actor. He does not like to let go of his character as he's got that character going. Ron, I want to know, what is one of your favorite characters that you've played? And yes, it could be Nurse Inya Bottom or one that I don't know yet.
Inya, Jeannie's over there laughing. Yeah, her name is Inya Bottom, and Bottom is spelled Botham and pronounced the British way, Inya Bottom. There's a whole story behind Inya as well. Inya started as a previous character. When I was working at the Scaratorium in 2012, we were located in a different location. At the time, we had a scene that was called, what was it? The Three-Legged Clown. You would approach the scene from behind And there was a button that you could press that says press here for peep show. And then you would look through, and there's a platform, and on top of the platform, the clown would be dancing. And the clown was wearing fishnet stockings and dancing very seductively. And then you'd turn the corner, you'd realize that this clown is a guy in drag. At the time, it was played by a guy named Stephen Kirk, who was a professional drag queen. He did do drag. It seemed like a lot of fun. And one night, Steve wasn't there. And I said, I'll try it. So I borrowed fishnet stockings, a leather miniskirt, and a corset from the girl that I was dating at the time. And I had a pair of combat boots. And this, what was it, like a red tinsel wig or something like that. I don't even remember what the first look was, but I got all dressed up with the fishnets and the miniskirt, and it was a zip up corset, and put the wig on, and they did my makeup. And so from behind, and I'm not bragging, but I've got really nice legs because of martial arts and all of the bike riding that I do. I've got huge fucking calves. Shut up, pal. So I've got really nice legs. So I'm there.
I took a drink right at the wrong time, bro.
I'm there and I'm dancing. And then people would turn the corner, but I have this scruff, all of the beard. And like, I had this one couple, they walked through, and the guy's like looking at my legs, like, you know, and then we turn the corner, and this girl is there. I'm like, come here, baby. You want to come dance with me? And the boyfriend's like, go on, go dance with him. And she goes, he's got a fucking beard. She just ran out of the room. That guy started cracking up. I was like, that's it. I'm sold. I said, I got to do this again. And it was hilarious. And then, either Steven or D, we have another guy that works for us named D. His character, Tasha Deweese, also a professional drag queen. And D said that I do what they call in their community skag drag, which is guys doing drag that don't shave. And I love that term, skag drag. I thought that was the perfect name for what I do. So I created this whole character out of, you know, this the fishnets with the leather miniskirt and corset and all that. And I call her Miss the Mark. As in missed the mark. So Miss the Mark started as the original character. Then at the time, Bob Turner from the Haunted Hydro was working with a company that was looking for haunt actors to send to Australia to work a mobile haunt that would go around and work county fairs. And they said that I should go audition for this Australia haunt thing. This was my first year of haunting. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just a good actor. And that's the reason why they referred me. So I went to the audition and I did the Miss DeMarc character. And people loved it. They said, it's wrong for the Australia thing, but it's a great character. So I had another character, my hillbilly character named Buford. And Buford I can drop into at any time because it's just another extension of my Southern cowboy redneck North Carolina self. And it started raining. So they came around and they handed us trash bags that we could put on, you know, to protect ourselves from the rain. So I ripped armholes in mine and put it on like a shirt and then tied it up like, you know, the girls tie their shirts up under their bosom. and I started calling myself white trash. They love that. It's it's that kind of creativity and being able to think quickly on the spot like that. That they wanted people that could do stuff like that. The problem is, I ruined my voice. I completely lost my voice. Like I could not talk for like 3 days after that because my voice was so shot. And I realized later it's because I was taking these mentholated cough drops, and menthol dries your voice out. I didn't know that at the time. These are things you learn as a haunter. I don't use them anymore. But when my voice started coming back, it was so deep. I sounded like the dramatic movie voiceover guy in a world devastated by famine. One man stands alone, ready to take on whatever troubles prevail. That kind of thing. And I loved it. I was like, I wish I could get my voice to stay like that, because it was so deep and so dramatic, and I loved it. So it sort of became the basis for my character Buford. Buford kind of talks like Billy Bob Thornton from Sling Blade. And it grew from there. Then when we ended up moving Scaratorium to the Cleveland Avenue location, Kelly Collins, the owner of Scaratorium, he had this idea that he wanted a nurse character, but he wanted the nurse to be played by a guy. So he asked me if I would do it. And I was totally game for the idea. And he kind of had his idea of what he wanted, but my idea was completely different. So I went to Spirit Halloween, and I bought one of those sexy nurse outfits, and a blonde wig. And the character just grew from there with the sexy nurse and the blonde wig and all that. It was such a hit. When I first started doing it, I envision, Nurse Anya comes out, the sexy nurse, with the zipper all the way down and the blonde hair and the nice makeup, looking all slutty, and then she comes at you like a drill sergeant. You got a problem, boy? You get up against the wall and you spread them. We're going to do a rectal exam now, and you better not be carrying any contraband. I could not carry that for 5 hours a night. I started destroying my voice. My head started hurting. It was killing me. I thought, I can't continue doing this. So I had to rethink my strategy to how I performed a character. First off, it's intimidating enough that you got this guy coming out in a sexy nurse outfit, and then he starts talking to you like a drill sergeant. But then it becomes a little bit more disconcerting, a little bit more disturbing. If you just drop into it like, oh, hey there, sugar. My, aren't you looking so cute and cuddly today? Well, Nurse India's going to have some fun with you. And people are like, oh, wait, what? Because now they don't know. They can't tell. It became one of the more popular characters that season. Everybody loved it. The problem came when people expected me to start doing Nurse Inya when I was not in character. And they couldn't differentiate between what was Ron and what was the nurse. It became troublesome for me because they liked the character more than they liked me. And I had a problem with that. So I wanted to stop doing that character. Now I only do it on special occasions. I don't do it very often. I don't bring the nurse out very often. But Mr. Mark, was the forerunner of Nurse Inya, and Nurse Inya became popular. Now I do actually have another female character named Fetch. And Fetch is the pole dancing cowgirl, which I don't know how I keep getting myself into this, but I guess this is what people expect. But hey, I mean, I made $7 in tips one night dancing at the Haunted Hydro while I was doing Fetch. So there's, I mean, it's not all bad. And what the hell this has to do with book writing, I have no idea. Thanks, pal, for starting that mess.
Well, you know what? It's not just about book writing. It's also about the person that creates the books. And I'll tell you, the pictures that I have of Inya is amazing and they're glorious. And I wish I could share them all with you. But,
But
I don't have the capabilities.
and we don't want to get kicked off of YouTube for indecent exposure.
You
Not
look
that I think any
fully
of them are actually
clothed
indecent. But yeah, okay,
in
there you
this
go.
picture. You seem to be covered.
Hi, Mom.
Very
And
sexy.
remember, I can't see your comments. Gee, thanks.
Oh, but I can.
That's gonna live in infamy. Oh boy,
Oh,
they never needed to see that.
no, I will tell you, I absolutely think so much about you, the way that you can go from one character to another character. And the thing is, for you to be a book writer and you go from one book to another book to this to that, you know what? That is incredible that you're able to do so much with switching your mind. And I can't wait to see on what you come up with next, be it in the haunt industry, be it in the book writing, be it, well, I don't know how much, uh, karate is switching your brain thoughts that much, but
That's a whole nother story. Oh man, that's opening up another can of worms there. If you start talking karate, since martial arts are one of my primary focuses outside of writing and haunting, there is a big, huge, ginormous debate about the practicality of kata forms and whether or not they can help you learn to fight. Someone posts a video of performing a kata, and without fail, someone will comment, "That'll never work in the street." Well, no shit, Sherlock. It's not intended to. It's a kata. The whole mindset for practicing kata is not the same mindset that you're going to have for practical self-defense in the street. One is
Okay.
supposed to enhance the other, not replace it.
Let's start by explaining what a kata is, please.
A kata is best explained. Some people will say it is an imaginary fight. I'm ignoring
Apparently,
you.
she's ignoring us now.
Oh boy. Oh boy. We're changing the topic, Mom. We're talking about martial arts now. Some people will explain kata as an imaginary fight. Some people will say it's a choreographed set of movements very similar to a dance. And in some cases, both of those are true. And some will say that kata is the blueprint for learning the principles and foundations of that martial arts style, in which if you were to analyze each of the techniques, everything that's used in the kata, you would be able to find some practical application for it and how it would be used in a fight. All of that is true, but the mindset in which you approach them are very different. So when someone says kata wouldn't work in the streets, it's not intended to. That's not the point. So just like with writing, where I can be singularly focused on the story that I'm writing at the time without all of the other stories interfering while I'm writing that one story, kata is the same way. When I'm practicing that kata, I'm focused on that kata and not everything else that's adjacent to it.
So you use katas to build strength and build understanding of how the techniques work.
Correct. That's a good way to explain it.
So
Kata
it
can be
is
used for a lot
a
of things.
foundation.
It is a foundation. lately, as I've gotten older and more experienced in the martial arts, kata has changed its purpose for me. Originally, when I first started learning kata, it was just basically I'm trying to learn a rote set of movements. It's
Good
past my
night. Thank
bedtime.
you for
I've enjoyed
coming.
listening to you guys. Good night. Love you, son. Love you too, Mom. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you
Read the
for
book.
coming, and thank you for making him.
Thank you for birthing me. So at the beginning, learning kata. So you got me off track now. It's just like learning rote movements, and you don't really understand what they're for. But then, as you get more experience and you start learning what the practical applications of these moves are for, and it enhances your understanding of martial arts as a whole. And now, as I've gotten farther along in my martial arts career, yeah, if I sit down and I study a kata, I can figure out what the moves are for, but that's because I've already had enough experience doing that. So now when I practice kata, for me, it's not so much I'm looking at it and studying the moves to try to figure out what the practical applications are. I can if I have to, but most of the time it's just walking meditation. You know how some people will sit in one spot and they'll put on some meditative music and they'll close their eyes and they'll go and they'll meditate, or they'll do yoga and to try to meditate. Whatever method they use, for me, it's kata. Kata is a form of walking meditation. It's a time when I can kind of shut my brain off from the outside world and just focus on the kata and not worry about anything else. I get some fitness benefits out of it. Keeps me in shape. It helps me breathe. It helps me to relax. I can do it powerful. I can do it slow. I can do it whatever speed I want to. I can be intense. I can be relaxed. It's just kata has a lot of benefits, and for me now, it's really become just something I really enjoy doing, just for the the whole physical and mental aspect of it, even without needing to learn it for the practical application that I would use it in self-defense. I'm secure enough and confident in my skills that I can handle myself. I'm not worried about that. So I don't necessarily need kata for that now because I've got the skills. I don't necessarily need kata for that. I like to have an understanding of what the moves are for, but I really do enjoy it for meditative aspect. That was a long-winded answer for a very simple question.
But I got more out of that, and anybody who has actually looked at any of the forms of practice and various other parts that it knows nothing, they may have a better idea, because I'm seeing as like those lovely people in the park, they're practicing martial art movement at a slow pace, but they're also strengthening.
Yeah.
And they're getting used to the movement as well as having a meditative time, because they're just not thinking about anything other than keeping the sets of movements in order in a way that won't hurt them but will strengthen themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way I feel after a good kata practice, because my whole body is invigorated, so that when I finally do sit down to relax, it's just like, and my mind feels like I did something, I accomplished something. It makes me feel good that I got through it, and I think if more people actually understood kata from that regard, a lot more people would be doing kata.
Yeah, because I didn't even know what the word was to describe it until now.
Learn something new every day.
You've taught me multiple things by just listening to your TikToks. So I knew I didn't know anything. Now I know I didn't know a whole lot. And I'm starting to understand some of the things more as I listen.
Well, I mean, I tend to look at things with a practical, analytical eye anyway. I like simplicity for simplicity's sake. I try not to make things overly complicated. even when I write, my writing is pretty straightforward. If something has to be complicated in the writing, I try to think through it myself. How can I explain this so that the reader will understand that it doesn't seem overly complicated? It's the same way with martial arts. I like simplicity for simplicity's sake within the martial arts. You can make it as complicated as you want, but ultimately it comes down to you and the movement.
Okay. That sounds perfect. And that
Why
helps.
make it more complicated than that?
Yeah.
Okay, we are coming to the end of the show. I have 3 more questions,
No!
and then we should probably end
Okay.
because our shows are usually about an hour and a half. One,
Well, I
can
still have to
zombies
pack for
fly?
tomorrow anyway, since I'm going down to Missouri to teach at a martial arts seminar. So
Yeah.
I
I
guess I should
didn't
probably.
plan on being on at 11, nearly midnight. Well, I guess, yeah, nearly midnight your time, but there was complications.
That's because I was out partying with the fam.
Oh,
I hope you had the best time
we're only
ever.
at 10:47 here in Ohio time.
Oh, I got
Yeah,
plenty of
but
time.
we're at a 1 hour and 20 minutes on the counter. So can
Right.
zombies climb, gentlemen?
All right.
The question was, can zombies climb?
Yes.
Can zombies climb? Huh. I will answer that, but I'm going to answer it in a roundabout way. I have a jersey. And my jersey has a picture of a zombie looking at a toilet with little question marks over its head. And it says, "Do zombies poop?" And people read this shirt and they love it. Everybody comments on it that reads the shirt. And they say, "That's an interesting question. It's very philosophical." Because it is. Zombies, if we reasonably agree that they're supposed to be dead or unalive or reanimated, they do not have a metabolic process, no metabolism. That means that they do not have a digestive process. They don't digest anything, but they still have that synapse for hunger that keeps firing in the brain, making them want to eat all the time. So they keep eating. But where's all of this going once it gets inside them? Do they actually swallow it? Or do they just kind of chomp at it, but they never actually ingest it? Now, if they ingest it and they swallow it, there's nothing in their brain to tell them when they're full. So now you got all of this carnage, this dead flesh, rotting carcass that just keeps building on top of each other, building on top of each other, building on top of each other until their whole stomach explodes. And now they've got all these entrails and stuff that they've eaten they're dripping out of them, and they still keep eating because they're still animated, right? So
Yes.
all that to say is that they don't know when to quit. Even if they have no reasonable thought, something is going to drive them to go wherever the food is. That means if the food is up and they have to climb to get there, they will unknowingly figure out how to get there without realizing it. Typically, this will be a zombie pile. Not you, Pile.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a zombie pile.
As soon as you said that, I knew we're going there.
Zombies piling on top of each other, trying to get to the food. And eventually the pile is going to get so big, not you, Pile, but I don't know. You said you're close to 300 pounds, so maybe, who knows?
365 last time.
There you go. Woo! Yeah.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy. He's all right. So the zombies will pile on top of each other. And at some point, one zombie is going to be crawling atop of that pile to get to wherever the food is. And by way of having done so, will have climbed without realizing that that's what they've done. I imagine if it's a ladder where they have to go up a ladder, that would largely depend on how recent the zombie is. Because rotting and decaying is still going to take place because they're dead, So they're still going to rot, they're still going to decay, which means at some point, not all of their body parts are going to work the way they were when they were a fresh zombie. They might not have the dexterity or the agility to be able to climb without something falling off. But if they are a fresh zombie and most of their body parts are still working and they have that dexterity and that agility, then that need to feed, that hunger that drives them, they may inadvertently climb that ladder without realizing that that's actually what they're doing, because it's an ingrained process that the brain has that drives the body, but there's no conscious thought behind it.
That makes absolutely perfect sense. Okay,
like I said,
I know this
in a
answer.
roundabout way.
Okay, I know this answer, but our viewers do not. Do pineapples go on pizza?
Did you look at his post?
You have the picture. You tell me.
I have the picture, but they don't know what you think.
Well, then post the picture and they will know.
You.
They will post the picture and they will know.
Okay, so he does have an answer. I just didn't know if he wanted me to show you the answer, but it's one of my favorites.
I like that question though.
That was a good answer. Okay, because I showed you mine.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got to have a Philly cheesesteak pizza for the first time. So yeah,
working on it.
No, this is the one. There we go. It takes a second because I have to download it, then I have to upload it. So he is of my mind pineapple and onions, and well, personally, onions, pineapple, and banana peppers always go on pizza. Okay. Oh,
if you're gonna put pineapple on a pizza, then you overload that bitch. You put pineapple on a pizza, god damn it. Hell yeah.
Okay. The last question, like the other one that I stole from Kelly. Yes, I stole questions from Kelly Lynn Colby because I love them. For those in the audience who are watching that knows her. What is your favorite ice cream?
You know where I'm going with this, pal.
Bananas.
I hear those ice cream bells that'll start to drool.
Oh man,
I keep
heard that for years.
Quarts in my locker at school. Yeah, the chocolate's getting old. Vanilla just leaves me cold. There's just one flavor good enough for me. Yeah, me. Don't give me no crummy teaspoon. I know what I need. Baby, I love Rocky Road. So won't you go and buy half a gallon, baby? I love Rocky Road. So have another triple scoop with me. Ow!
I've not heard that in so long. I forgot totally about that even existing. And oh my gosh. You know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to play this for my daughter and make her memorize that.
Hell yeah.
At one point, Cassie had the Stinky Cheese song memorized.
Oh my gosh.
She got in trouble at school for singing it. It was great.
You know, Ron, it's never a dull moment talking to you, having a conversation, just laying back, relaxing, learning more about you, and letting you unloose.
Other than my internet crashing at one point today, well, this has been a wonderful episode, and I have definitely enjoyed you gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Ron, please tell us where you want them to come find you.
Rocky Road.
And remember, if you say that one comment, I will say the same comment over.
Oh, I'm not going to say that comment again. Let's see. Find me in the deep freeze with the vat of Rocky Road ice cream.
Singing.
You can find me on Facebook under Ronald W. Gillespie Jr. -author. That is my author page for all things that I will be writing and talking about book-wise. There is the book right there. You can see the cover. It is out today. Today is the official release day. Yes, you can go and purchase your very own copy now and get it delivered directly to your Kindle library and go ahead and start reading it. There are 8 stories. It is 198 pages. And I would only ask that after you read it, please go to Amazon and write a review, because I really want to know what people think about this book. I'm very excited to find out. I put a lot of effort into writing these stories, and I enjoy the stories, but it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think. So I know I'm on the right track. Aside from the writing, you can also find me here on YouTube under Wolf Dojo. I do a lot of martial arts related content, although I have to say, perfectly honest, I do not update YouTube as often as I should. I am more active on TikTok. You can also find me on TikTok, also under Wolf Dojo, where you can find much more martial arts related content. And if you look far enough down in my videos on TikTok, you will actually find some of my short stories that are in this book that I read out loud. So yes, they are there. You can find them.
And you will find some on the Owlite Network under Campfire Cinders and
Yeah.
the Owlite Society episodes.
So please hit me up on Facebook if you have any questions, anything else you would like to know. I've got 2 more books on the back burner, just waiting to be finished. And that's
Can't
all
wait.
I have to say about that.
And how can we rent in your bottom?
You know what, Kyle? Let's skip that one, and you tell people where you'd like people to find you.
Oh, let's see here. You can usually find me here on the Owlite Network. You can also find me on Facebook and on TikTok. Pile Hazard is the name. You can also find me with OHA meetings. I'm big into those. And I'm thinking I might start my own watch my videos and drink and get drunk. Because I just realized that all these podcasts, I drink a glass, at least one glass. And if you would join me, you might not stand.
And go ahead and explain what OHA is for the uneducated listener.
Oh my gosh, you don't know what OHA is? It's the greatest, most wonderful thing about Ohio. Ohio Hunters Association, where you too can come out to hunts and see how the people act, how the people are, and come and meet and greet.
There you go. You can
Awesome.
learn more about the haunt industry and why we are so enthusiastic about what we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
It's networking for haunts.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think you can see it.
I can see.
I can.
See it?
Yes.
I can.
This is
There you
about the
go.
size. This is my Dell, because I
Mhm.
have to have some Dell with me everywhere.
There you
But
go.
yeah, this is actually what it says. This is about the size cup I usually drink. No, it doesn't normally have alcohol. A lot of times it has herbal tea. But either way, please find me here on the Owlite Network. You can find me at Fakewar. You can find me on my Friday with the Library and the Blue Book page. You can find me at the Fridays Blues Disorganized Library book group. And also, I have an author's page under Jennifer Elliott. Please, more than anything, I hope you read any of the authors I've had on here, because all of them have amazing books and I have enjoyed them so much. And Ron, our guest of the evening, does have some great stories. And happy book birthday again. And I'm so happy I got to be your first interview.
Yay!
Everybody, have a wonderful night. Bye.
Have a great one.